So I actually remember to do my mic this time, so that's good. But um last time that I talked about the house, it was that it had gone back on the market and that we were making an offer. And a lot has happened since then, and I haven't been able to like vlog it. So the thing is that we ended up going back to the house, making sure everything was okay. My dad did go with us, make sure that it was, everything looked good and that it was going to be a good starter house and didn't need a lot of work that my husband and I, are unfamiliar with when it comes to looking for things like that, and identifying like what needs to be done. And so that was really cool. That went really good. So we put an offer in that same day, came back on the market, which they said it was going to be 48 hours before it technically was back on the market before we could put an offer in. But it actually happened the very next day. And so we did it immediately. And then that's when we went and saw it with my dad and everything. And then we were waiting for them to get back to us about our offer. They told us, it would take up to 48 hours. On that, I believe the 48-hour mark, when it was getting close to that, that's when, they reached out and said, hey, we've received multiple offers. We're asking that everyone send in their best offer. And so we really didn't have much more room to go, but we prayed about it and everything, and we were just like, what do we do? Do we keep it the same? I don't know. And we felt like the Lord told us to do a little bit more. And so we're like, okay, we ran the numbers, made sure it was going to be okay. We're like, all right, like this is what we feel like you're saying, and so we're going to do that. And so we did. And because it wasn't very much and everything, and because the housing market is still like kind of crazy and pretty competitive considering, we were just like not knowing what to expect and feeling like, okay, we did everything that we can do. So like this is in God's hands now. Like this is completely fully into his hands because there's nothing else that we can do within our power and our ability. And our prayer this whole time has been, Lord, like we want to be where you are. We want to be where you're going and doing what you're blessing. And so if that's this house, then we pray it works out. And if it's not, then we pray that the door completely closes and that we won't, make it very far. And so far, with everything that we've been feeling and then acting on from him, has been pointing to that this is the house for us in this season of our life, and everything, and the fact that it had went contingent twice and went back on the market both times. One was for the first one was like it fell through financially for the people, and then the second one was because there was a couple of things on the inspection that concerned him that really, as far as we could see and stuff, isn't actually concerning. And then, which actually that offer went contingent the day we were putting in an offer originally, and we didn't realize there was things in the works. And so we were pretty upset because we were like, we felt like this was the house. We were there. We felt so much peace. We, felt like we saw the Lord's approval upon it and everything. And so we were just like, oh, Lord, what's going on? We don't understand and everything. And then we just prayed and said, okay, God, if this is the house, then for whatever reason, it's gonna go back on the market. And a week later, it did. Not even a week later. And so we were pretty upset. So then you fast forward to find out that it is on the market again. We put in an offer. We go and see it with my dad. They're asking for next best highest, or your highest best offer. And we just, completely put it in the Lord's hands and did what we could. And when we told the Lord, we said, and this has been on my heart, and I'm like, I kind of feel like reminded of Moses, where the Lord was calling him and the Israelites into the wilderness, and Moses got angry and struck the rock. And because of that, the Lord said, because you acted out of your anger, I am not going to go into the promised land with you. You guys will get there, but my presence will not be there with you. And Moses said, I don't want the promised land, and I don't want to go to the promised land if I'm going to be without your presence. And so they literally, and there was many reasons why they wandered the wilderness for over 40 years. But one of them was because Moses asked God not to send them into the promised land without his presence. And so when Moses passed, then that allowed them to go into the promised land. And that's kind of how I felt. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to go where you're not. I don't want to go where you're not blessing. I don't want to go where your peace isn't. Because I rather be in the wilderness, so to speak. We rather be uncomfortable in a place where you are than be somewhere you're not and be more comfortable. And everything. And so that has been our huge prayer, as well as, laying down our desires and what we think we want for ourselves and how we think things should be. And that has been a huge part of this. I don't think we would have gotten this far in the process if we hadn't intentionally laid down our desires and what we wanted every single day, multiple times a day. So there's even things with the inspection that has been kind of crazy. So the day we put in an offer, we went and looked at the house again, and with my dad, like I said. And so when we got there, we realized that it looked like the pipe that goes outside for like a hose to water your garden, it looked like that broke, and it was like really frozen, and there was a lot of ice around it. I have a picture of it, so I'll put it in. But yeah, so we were like, if this is broken, this needs to be fixed, And then there's something else on the house that looked broken, that was broken. And so that wasn't before when we first saw it. And so we were like, okay, these two things are definitely going to have to be addressed. And our offer is contingent on the inspection. So if there's any issues, then we're protected. That way we're not buying a house and eating the costs to fix these things that we didn't break. And so we did notify them immediately. And so because this house had already been contingent twice, the second time they, got the inspection immediately, and then got cold feet, said we don't want it, backed out. So because of that, we apparently went to the same company to get the inspection, because they were like, hey, we actually have this inspection already. We'll give it to you for 50% off. We'll have a guy come out. He'll walk you through what is on the inspection, but he will not look at anything new and add anything new. And so that was a huge thing for us, because we're like, well, our agent told us in order to get these things fixed that broke in the process of us offering, that it's going to have to come up on inspection for us to negotiate with the seller to fix it. And so we're like, even though that saves us money now, that potentially it costs us more money long term, because it's like, well, we don't know how much that's going to cost, especially if the pipe did bust, and especially if the crawl was being flooded and potentially causing more damage to the house. And so we were hoping to get the inspection sooner, but because we wanted to get an inspector we trusted, we decided to wait till Monday. So hopefully that doesn't bite us in the butt either. But so, I mean, honestly though, I feel a lot of peace about it and everything. And so that's kind of where we're at in the process. I so badly want to tell you some more behind the scenes. But I don't feel like it's time yet. And so when it is time, I will share it. Hopefully, it's pretty evident that the Lord has been through this the whole time. Actually, I can tell you this other part. Okay, so what day was it? Last Saturday. And so this past Saturday, which tomorrow's gonna be Saturday and it's the 31st. So tomorrow's gonna be the 1st. So the Saturday before the 1st. But we were trying to go back to the house and take my mother-in-law with us because we wanted her sensitivity to God's Spirit to hopefully, make sure, and we've done this throughout the whole process where we've kept our leadership, our spiritual leadership informed, and our spiritual leadership would be our pastor and his assistant pastor. So both of our pastors are aware of the situation, as well as two of our very close friends and our parents. And so we've just been really careful to what we're doing and making sure that it's submitted through all the channels. Not necessarily that we needed it to be submitted to our parents, but that we wanted their wisdom and their expertise because they have bought houses before. So we've gone through all those channels to make sure that they were confirming what we felt from God. So it wasn't just like, well, God said this, therefore we're just going to do it no matter what. And so it's, covering us and making sure that we aren't just thinking we're feeling God and it wasn't. But thankfully it has been. So we wanted to take my mother-in-law to the house and have her look at it and see, what she felt about our offer. We explained the situation. We said, we can't do much more. We did a little bit more like we felt like the Lord said, but we're not sure that's going to be competitive enough when there's multiple offers. And everything, and we're in a limited financial situation with how much we can spend on a house, which I will also be more transparent about that in the future. But for now, I'm just going to keep it at that. And so, we're just like, we want to make sure that we are giving our 2 fish, 5 loaves in every way, that we're not withholding, that God can do everything he can with what we have. And so, so if we give something and withhold it, parts of it, then that's still giving us the control. That's still us not trusting the Lord and not fully surrendering it to him with hands wide open. And so that's why we were doing that. We want to make sure that we're fully giving all that we have. We're fully having hands wide open and giving him our best foot forward in every area, and being obedient and as best as we can, humanly can anyways. There's no such thing as perfection. And so, we know that we're never going to be perfect, but we know that we want to intentionally strive for the best that we can do. And so this was, one of those processes that we felt like, okay, let's do this. Well, it ended up not working out where we could get in the house because my realtor had a family situation that happened, and we couldn't get in before the window closed to our best offer. And so we knew, okay, Lord, like that, we feel like that's you telling us, like, what you've done is enough. You've given everything you have, and like, just trust me with it and just watch. And so we're just like, okay. But anyways, we still went with my mother-in-law to the house, and we're just like, at least we can just walk around it, show you where it is. You can look in the windows and see some of the house and whatnot. So we get there, and we're showing her, she's loving it. She thinks it's cute and perfect and all this stuff. And there was something that I told my husband. I was like, I just need to do this. I don't know why, but I feel like in some way I need to write our name on the property. And so I said, I even thought about getting chalk, but I don't know where my chalk is. Yes, I own chalk. If you're going to judge me, this isn't the place for it. So I love chalk, okay, whatever. And so I'm like, but I don't know where my chalk is right now. It's somewhere in storage. I'm like, but I don't want to go to the store and buy more. I don't want to go to the store and buy like window chalk pen because I don't want somebody to think I vandalized the house and it's not even ours and think we're crazy people. And so I'm like, I've thought about it. I prayed about it. I just told the Lord, please just give me a little patch of snow, because at this point the snow is melting and everything. I'm like, just give me a little patch of snow on the property where I can write our name in faith. And so we get there, and there's like this piece of the driveway that had snow, and it was like untouched. And I was like, that's it. That's the spot. And so I wrote our name, Lucas, in the snow. And for me, that was just an act of faith. That was me saying, okay, Lord, since this is where you have led us so far and what we have felt peace about so far, I'm claiming this in Jesus' name and writing our name upon it in the spirit, like in the physical, but also in the spirit. Like, we're claiming this as, our home. And if it falls through, then we still completely trust you, because then that's not our home. But I rather act in faith in what I feel that I see him blessing than to not act in faith in what I see him blessing. And so I rather, again, be super intentional and be super like just acting in faith and belief and trust than not. And so my mother-in-law was like, she couldn't believe that I did that, which I thought was so funny. I'm like, it's just gonna melt away, it's fine. And she was like, you know what? I just feel like we need to pray. And so me, my mother-in-law, and my husband joined hands, and we started praying. And my mother-in-law led it. And I also have a little bit of a clip for that, so I'll also insert that. But it makes me so emotional. But that was exactly what was supposed to happen. And we were supposed to go and pray. And again, there's some things that I'm not sharing. And I know. I always say trust. I always say transparency, vulnerability, all the things. But just know that I will tell you all of the details as soon as I can and as soon as I feel released to. And you will know. Because that is my desire, is to be completely open and transparent, according to wisdom, of course, of like the Lord's wisdom of what should be shared and shouldn't be shared. But as of right now, that's as much as I can tell you about the prayer situation. Just know that we really felt the Lord move, and it just confirmed even more that we were on the right track. And so we leave, we feel great, we go have lunch at this great Mediterranean place, and we talk, we hang out. My battery's about to die, so if it just cuts out, just know I'll be back. But yeah, so this house doesn't have appliances. It doesn't have a fridge, a washer, and a dryer. And so we're like, okay, I already mentioned that we have a little bit of a financial restriction right now. Like, we are in a tough financial situation. So it's like our budget's only so much. We can only afford to do so much. And if we buy this house, we're not going to be able to afford appliances. And so we were like, from the get-go, we're like, God, you're going to have to provide. If this is the house, then you're going to have to provide these things. And in some way, whether it's money being given to us, like someone buying it for us, like whatever it looks like, we're not going to limit you. But just like, this has to be provided, because we know that we can't where we're at. Then we had already priced some stuff, because we knew that in some cases there were situations where there was houses that needed new appliances or didn't have appliances and stuff. And so we were already looking and pricing these things and trying to get an idea. So we go that day and we're like, okay, we're going to go to Appliance Center, because she was like, have you checked Appliance Center? And we're like, actually, no, we didn't even think about it. We checked all like Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, but we actually didn't think about Appliance Center. She's like, how about you guys go check Appliance Center? Okay, cool. So we eat, we hang out, It's a great time. We take her home. We go to appliance center and we go look. And we find this fridge. Okay, this house isn't a big house, but it's bigger than our apartment. And that's what we need. And so this house has very specific measurements for a fridge because of the space. And same with the washer and dryer. And so we went with very specific measurements and was like, we need to find something with these measurements that's going to fit the best in this place because we need to maximize our space and we can't have a 3-foot deep fridge sticking out into the middle of our kitchen when we don't have that much space to begin with. And so we were just like, okay, let's go look. The one fridge that we liked the most, that looked freaking amazing, that looked like it was the best fridge there, granted not the biggest, not the fanciest, but all around was like a really nice fridge, really nice looking fridge, looked like it would go with the rest of the appliances. And we were like, what's the price on it? We saw that it was in budget. We said, okay, what's the measurements? It was to the T, to the height, the depth, the width that we needed. And I was like, we were like, this is it. This is the fridge. This is the fridge that was made for our house. And we found a washer and dryer. Washer and dryer was a little bit harder because they're huge. And we were thinking, so, my camera ended up dying. And so here I am again. So the washer and dryer, we're still trying to decide because in the laundry area, the way that it's laid out, is a little bit awkward. And so we're looking at how, if we can maybe shift things around a little bit and whatnot to have the laundry fit a bit better, because we were originally thinking that we were going to have to do a washer dryer tower. But I'm not a fan of those just because the seal on the washer has a hard time drying, which can make it moldy and smelly. And then also it would have to stay open and wiped off every time we use it. And I don't want it open with my cats because I'm worried that one of them might get in there and whatnot. And so if we have to do a tower, then we will, but we're hoping to do individual washer and dryer. And so we think it'll work out with how we planned it and everything. And so we don't want a small washer and dryer where it's just made for apartments and whatnot, because it is a house. And so we think long term it would be better for us to have full size machines. And so if we can make that work, then, that's the best thing. And so, yeah. And then, so was a huge God thing that is being provided for, and was something that we weren't sure what to do. But in the process of looking at this house and feeling peace and everything and feeling like the Lord was saying, pursue it, go for it. We told him, well, we can't afford to buy the house and buy appliances. So we're gonna need you to provide then, if this is where you want us and what you want us to do. And so the fact that, those machines, our appliances are being provided for is huge. It's a huge answered prayer, and even bigger reflection to us that we are going in the right direction and we are where the Lord wants us. And so, yeah, that was really cool. And then we actually ended up having our inspection. So it is a couple days later. I love this shirt, so I guess I'm wearing the same shirt and the same hat. It is my favorite hat. I've had it for years. So we actually did end up having our inspection too, and our inspection went pretty good. There was a couple things that need attention, and thankfully the seller is in the process of sending someone out to fix the couple things that are in need of immediate attention, whereas the rest of the stuff John and I can do on our own, and with some family friend help potentially, if we need it. but it's really not a lot of stuff, and we think that it'll be fairly low cost too. And so, all in all, the inspection went good, which our offer was contingent on the inspection. And so, as long as like the seller fixes all the immediate things that need to be fixed, then we're going to be good to go. Which, as of right now, it seems that that is what they are going to do. So, which we'll know more this evening when we talk to our realtor, and go through the inspection and even figure out, okay, well, they fixed this. What else do we need them to fix? Whatnot. And then negotiate with the seller on what else they would be willing to fix. And then we would have to have the inspector come back out again, just to check the work and make sure that everything was done correctly and everything that was needed attended to was attended to. And so, all in all, we feel really good about it still. We feel that as of right now, it's all going better than we expected and everything. And so we're just really excited about it. And it's really hard not to see like how God is moving in it all, and how He's leading us through it and providing for it and everything. And so, which there's, like I said before, there's so much more details that I want to tell you, but I just don't feel released to say it. So maybe there'll be another video where we sit down and give you from start to finish all of the behind the scenes and all the details once we're there and everything has kind of settled down and whatnot. And so, yeah, I'm just super excited, and I was looking forward to sharing it. And we haven't been telling many people because we've been trying to keep it on the DL until we know that this is for sure happening and whatnot. And so we just want to I don't know, take care, but we really want to tell people, but which we will in time. But yeah, I think that's everything for now.